going to make a new game object that we're going to call a portal. It's going to be like a door, and when our character collides with it, it's going to trigger the loading of a new level eventually. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and set up our portal, which is actually going to be a sprite, which is like a 2D image or like almost like a cartoon. So I made up my object, my sprite in Photoshop by just making a white rectangle the same size as my character, and then I deleted the center of it to make sort of a frame. So I click it, it's a PNG, could be a JPEG, lots of other files except in Unity. Drag it, drop it in projects, and if you click on it, you'll see that it's automatically recognized as a texture. Well, we want it to be recognized as a sprite, so we can apply it to a sprite game object. So click texture under texture type, and change that to Sprite 2D. Click Apply to apply the change, and you'll see that now this is transparent. So now we're going to create the game object. So go ahead and game object, create other, sprite. Mine automatically took the only sprite that's in here and applied it to the game object I made. If yours does not, just click it and drag it on to the area where it says sprite. So this is huge, so we're going to want to make it a lot smaller. You can change the scale in the transform scale area of the sprite, or you can also do it manually. If you click on this button here, that changes with the object selected. You'll get these sort of brick arrows that you can use for changing the object size. So you can do something like that if you want. Ours will probably be different, especially if you're using your own image, but I'm just going to try and get it to match the same, so it'll be about the same size as our character. Something like that. And then go ahead and rename it Portal. And now I don't want to have these scale changers, so I'm going to select again the arrows up here, and then I can move it around. Remember that you can always move it by inputting numbers into the position as well. And I'm just going to check that they are pretty much the same size by putting them on top of each other. Yep, okay, good enough. So the idea now is to create a script that's going to test to see if this guy has collided with the portal. And then if it has, then we'll go on and write our load script. So first, we actually have to do something to the portal. The portal right now is actually just a flat, I'll show you in 3D, click 3D. It's just, it has basically no width. I could change the Z value here to 10 and it wouldn't get any wider. It's thinner than a sheet of paper. So I actually need to add some sort of collider on it like Laura has right now. So she's got a box collider. It shows up what space she takes, and the portal doesn't have that. So since we're dealing with 3D objects, I'm actually going to add a 3D box collider to our portal, and do that by selecting Portal and going to Add Component. We'll type in box collider, enter. Now we've got it here. So let me show you real quick. If I press play, they should run into each other. And then they can't go any further. So I actually want, I'm going to increase her speed. There we go. I actually want this to act like a trigger so that it'll change something about the game when they hit, but I don't want them to actually run into each other. So what you do is on Portal, selected, on Box Collider, it gives you this option, is trigger. And if you click that, I'll show you. You can now go right over it. And the is trigger option also enables you to use a function. They have different functions like on trigger enter, on trigger exit. So, and when you enter, we want to do something. So let's go ahead and write a script for our portal. So in project, you can right click, create, C#, and we'll name it portal, enter, double click to open it, its name portal automatically in class. And I'm going to start, so eventually I actually have plans to have multiple characters. So I'm going to keep this pretty open-ended. I'm going to declare a public character name. Oh, I need to declare as a string, a public string character name. And I'm going to use that function that we can use if we are using a trigger, and it's void. Void meaning that the function doesn't return anything. On trigger enter takes as an argument a collider, and we'll call the collider other, because it'll represent the other thing that's touching the portal. And we'll say if, this is pseudocode, if the thing colliding with this object has the name character name, do something. Eventually it's going to be loading a level. Say if other.name, the code here is actually almost clearer than my pseudocode, is equal to character name. So I don't have anything for it to actually do right now, so I'm just going to use a debug statement to test to see if this happened. We'll say debug.log, and I can either put in, I could ask for it to print out something for me like the transform.position, and if I did that I would get the position coordinates of the object that's holding this script. Or I could say, here I'll just say as a string, so it'll print out my exact string. Collision. Save it, go back to Unity, and then drag the script to the portal, the script called portal to portal, and that shows up here. And for the character name, I want to test to see if it's running into an object that has a character that is at the same size as its portal. So we'll call this Laura. I'll press play. At the bottom here, I get this readout collision. If I actually wanted to click on console, if you ever want to read them coming out in real time, so I'll go away. So I'll go back again, and it gets another statement. Right now mine is on collapse, but if I uncollapse, it'll see it every time it happens. There we go. So now we're just going to go out of gameplay. Let's File, Save Scene As. We'll call this Level 1. And in the next video, we'll go ahead and make a new scene and load the new scene.